All right, so yesterday I was sitting in my office. I was doing three different things simultaneously, and I came to a stop and I started writing this script. And I was thinking to myself, what would happen if we really did have a universal basic income? An extra $1,000 every month that everyone gets just for being alive. You don't have to do anything, you don't have to put in a form, you don't have to prove anything. You just get an extra $1,000 every single month. And that got me thinking, how would corporations, how would billionaires, how would business owners react to that? And it brought me back to the thoughts of those angry business owners on Fox News during the pandemic, crying their eyes out because nobody wants to work anymore. Everyone's lazy. No one wants to do a hard day's work for honest pay. Honest pay? Really, billionaires and business owners? Honest pay? When the amount of accidents and people losing what they have, losing their own existence in an Amazon warehouse. Yesterday, I was watching a documentary at how many people meet their end in such places, only to have that little yellow sign put next to your now soulless, empty shell of where you used to live put in front of you. Oops, there's a spill on aisle 3, and it's you. Spending your last waking moments in an Amazon warehouse, blinking, waiting for medical attention to come that's not going to come in time. Because they have a no 911 call policy. And I thought to myself, that's awful. And that a lot of us are going to meet our maker at a place we hate, work, all because we have to work. We have to go to these disgusting I don't even know what to describe work. A place that keeps you in constant fear of losing your job while telling you you need to work harder. That's what causes people to meet their end in places like that. Performance, surveillance pushes you to the point where your body just gives up and shuts down. But what if there was a better way? Universal basic income that gives people options. So if you had an extra $1,000 every month, you probably just need to work a part-time job doing whatever in order to support yourself. But no, that would make these business owners go nuts because we know how they feel about people. They don't like us, we don't like them, and it's a mutually understood agreement that we only work because we need to eat. All right, let's get into our monologue. Billionaires aren't scared of universal basic income because it makes people lazy. They're scared because it gives people options. If you're not broke, you don't have to take that soul crushing job for $9 an hour. And suddenly, their entire business model starts to fall apart. They need you desperate so they can underpay you and still expect gratitude. Universal basic income doesn't give people money, it gives them the power to say no. And that's what terrifies the elites. When the proletariat doesn't need your crummy job that involves doing everything imaginable, unclogging a toilet while simultaneously trying to fix a server. One hand inside the toilet, the other hand trying to figure out why the server went offline. That's the America that we live in. You're no longer doing one job. You're doing all the jobs while they're watching you, tapping on the screen, wondering, hey, why can't we get more juice from this squeeze? The proletariat's sick and tired of it. These low paying, obnoxious jobs where you have some loser manager telling you how incompetent you are all day. And like myself working at Walmart, every day it was the same thing. Millennials team, why don't you quit? You hate it here. I would quit every single job. I would never work a single day in my life if I didn't have to. Because there's no dignity in low paying work. There's no dignity in having no respect. There's no dignity showing up at work, having to put on a chicken costume and look at yourself in the mirror and think, I went to college for this. That's what life is like. And the one reason you're broke is you went to school. That was your worst mistake for all of us, for tens of millions of us who went to school in the liberal arts college. That was our mistake. Thinking that somehow we could get a job that we could tolerate. Sure, it's not going to pay great, but at least I don't have to show up every day and feel like my soul seeps out of my rear end every time I have to fart. But that's the world we live in. It's disgusting, despicable, and full of awful billionaires and rich people that don't understand why poor people have no motivation to work whatsoever. I've created an entire brand around the statement, no one wants to work anymore, with thousands of episodes before it got demonetized. And I've been doing it ever since. There have been at least 4,000 of these videos that I've created. And I may have a little channel, 4,000 subscribers right now. But with 4,000 subscribers, I'm about to hit 1 million views. Why? Because people want to hear this stuff. People want to know that there are other people out there thinking the same thing. I work full time, millennial Sting, but I'm broke. I'm on the verge of losing my house. My Promobile's unsafe. Women won't talk to me because I'm short, fat, and ugly, and I'm broke. I'm lonely. I'm depressed. I have panic attacks. I need I need mental help because of my personal finances. I can't stop thinking about ending up in a ditch, face first in the mud. That's how I plan on going. Or in a cubicle somewhere where someone notices that there's a certain smell after so many days of not seeing my car leave the parking lot. But with that said, let's get into talking point number one. The entire low wage economy relies on people being desperate, not skilled, not motivated, desperate. Universal basic income gives people just enough to not settle for garbage jobs, and that threatens the whole exploitation model. I would not have set one foot in any job I have ever had in my entire life if it wasn't for sheer desperation. I stay at my current job out of sheer desperation. The thought of losing my job terrifies me as much as it crushes my soul to have to go back. And it's not about skill, it's not about you wanting to be rich. It's about all of us just wanting to be comfortable, to have options, to have universal basic income, have universal health care, have universal rent, have universal food. It's not a pipe dream. The resources are there. We don't need billionaires hogging up all of the resources and telling us that we're greedy because we want more. In fact, I was doing research for this and I was looking at another topic, similar topic, and I was looking at how billionaires say that they can't afford to pay taxes. And then you look at what the proletariat pays. Billionaires are like, well, why should we try if you're going to take away 90% of our profits in taxes? Look at the average person. Look at how much we work to have nothing. And look at the elite class at how much they work to have everything. And they're scared about having to pay their fair share. It's ridiculous because all we do is work and we have nothing to show for it. Talking point number two. Billionaires aren't scared people will sit around and do nothing. They're scared people will finally do what they want. Start businesses, create art, rest, raise families without needing their permission or their payroll. There's a reason why less and less people are getting married or starting families or doing anything other than putting their head down and bending over for evil corp because we can't. There's no other options. I don't want to work for a billionaire. I don't want to work at Amazon or Kroger's or Fry's or Target or any fast food place. I wish those jobs would just end. Get it over with. The fast food industry is done. They've outpriced their customers. They've lowballed their employees. If you can't afford to eat somewhere while you're working there, that business shouldn't exist. Fast food and the food industry in itself is pretty much come to an end because their low quality food is disgusting. No matter what I eat from a fast food place right now, or just about any place that sells food, tastes like garbage. The quality and quantity of food these days is so low, it barely passes the sniff test. It's despicable. Look at the workers there. Do they look like they're people that are thriving? No. These are people whose second or third job is standing there looking at you like, what kind of what type of slop would you like me to put on your plate today? Because they're aware of how low their standards have become. In order to make everything cheaper and more profitable, they're willing to sacrifice the entire population. They're willing to feed us dirt and call it caviar because they truly know that the proletariat will just do nothing. You can whip them, you can slash them, you can hit them over the head, and the proletariat will just look at you like a dumb animal. Like, huh? What's happening? What's happening? I can't afford to live. I can't afford to eat. I can't afford to work. But guess what? They're just going to keep coming because the desperation in our society is grown to the point where no matter what you do to the proletariat, they won't wake up. They just keep looking around thinking, well, tomorrow it will get better. Tomorrow it will get better. Jesus is coming to save me tomorrow. No, no one's coming to save you, proletariat. It's called self rescue. That's what the proletariat needs to do. It's called self rescue. No person's coming to save the proletariat. And these disgusting corporations are willing to bury all of us in the pursuit of profit. Talking point number 3. During the pandemic, a little unemployment money made billionaires realize, wait, my job actually sucks. And employers freaked out, not because people were lazy, but because people finally had options. Oh, okay, I read that wrong. I was wondering, it didn't make sense at the end. So, during the pandemic, a little unemployment money made millions realize, wait, my job sucks. And that caused corporations and business owners to look at the proletariat and be like, if the proletariat had any options whatsoever, and this reminds me of the perfect example, and I've used this example before. During the pandemic, I was living over on the other side of Sprouts, and I was riding my bike. I'm back to my house, and every day I passed a greedy business owner, a mom and pop business owner. And every day I looked inside and I waved at him as I rode my bike by. One day he was looking particularly depressed. And I asked this business owner, hey, why are you here every day? Why don't you hire someone to run this crappy store? There's never anyone here. And he told me that based on an equation that he had just interviewed someone of that day and they used and they told him, it is better for me. I make more money by staying at home and collecting unemployment than I would working this minimum wage job. And to that business owner, it was like getting shanked. It's like they make more money sitting at home. How is that possible? Because during this time, I was one of those people that was making $300 a week trying to get as many hours as I could working at Walmart. My life at $300 a week was absolutely miserable. But if I could make twice that just by sitting at home and doing nothing, why would I take that job? Tell me, give me one reason why I would endure the humiliation of work if I had options to stay home. And that is what these corporations freaked out about during the pandemic is suddenly we didn't have rent because there was that moratorium on rent. We had our universal basic income and we didn't have to go. And suddenly these business owners are looking around. It's like, given any option not to work, the proletariat will not work. Why? And there's one simple reason: it doesn't benefit us in any conceivable way that Walmart makes record profits every year while it's paying its workers $300 a week. That makes absolutely no sense. How do you get someone to sacrifice their life for not enough money to even exist? It's just not possible. The When tens of millions of people realized that working was a scam, it's the joke was up, and corporations know that. Every time anyone speaks out about universal basic income, the corporations are like, "What are we going to do?" These are the same people who tell you that there isn't a dollar, $1 raises for the year. I didn't get anything. I haven't gotten a single raise in 3 years now. But they know my desperation will keep me there. As long as they keep paying me, it's like a stray cat. And you put food out, he's going to keep coming back because he needs it. Not because he wants it, not because he likes you, not because he likes his job in any conceivable way, but because he has to. All right, let's get to our final talking point. Let's be real. If your company can't survive without underpaid, overworked staff barely scraping by, you're not a job creator. You're a poverty profiteer. And universal basic income calls your bluff. Poverty profiteer. That's what I'd like to see them called. You're not creating opportunities. These stupid jobs that they advertise every month that the economy creates, like last month, they're 250,000 jobs. These aren't jobs. These are desperation positions for people at the bottom. People who lost their federal jobs that need any job. People who are willing to be actively humiliated, suffer the indignity of daily work while they look at a corporation who will close down its operation if it can't make record profits. And you have to scratch your head. It's like, is this for real? Did we really let this happen to us? Did we sign up to be a force that powers our slave planet? I personally didn't. I don't want anything to do with this system. This system actively makes me want to vomit. Going to work makes me want to crap my pants. Going to work, looking at my tiny paychecks, thinking I'm 3 paychecks behind on having anything left in my bank account. Thinking to myself that even if I got paid today, what I'm going to be getting paid in 2 weeks, it still wouldn't make a difference. It's not going to make a difference in any part, in any enjoyment in my life. There is no enjoyment at the bottom. There's just pain and suffering. Every day you open your wallet and you look in there and you wonder, why is there never anything for me? Because if there were resources for you, then the corporation wouldn't have the control they do over you. The control to tell you where you're going to be 8 hours a day while your life is absolutely miserable. You look around, I look around in my new apartment, I look outside, there's never anyone outside. People don't even go outside. They're plugged into their entertainment at home, watching Netflix and thinking, you know what? I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to enjoy my Netflix. I'm not going to do anything about it. And I'm just going to tell myself that this is normal. Well, I'm telling you this. It's not normal. Don't let them normalize it.